Hello YouTubers. Well, looking back to the time of the 1930s and 40s of my youth, as you've asked me to do, I think about the health of the nation at that time. There were so many diseases that have subsequently either been eradicated or are now curable that weren't in those days. And diphtheria, scarlet fever, meningitis, tuberculosis, mumps, measles, chickenpox, whooping cough, the influenza, and of course the cancers. So times were different, and mothers treated their children very often with proprietary sort of medicines from the chemist, syrup of figs for regularity, and all sorts of things that you bought, and you treated the children yourself. If the time came when you did need a doctor, then yes, you did have access to a doctor, but it was a time before we had a national health service, and I expect it was just a basic insurance that you took out. I remember a man came to the door every Friday, I think, the man from the Prue we called him, and he collected sixpence which went towards your health care. I was born in Norwich in Norfolk, and we did have a hospital, and we had a children's hospital which was called Jenny Lind Hospital, so I gather that that must have been a charity hospital. And of course we had well, not of course, but we also had an isolation hospital. One of my cousins suffered from tuberculosis and fortunately did recover. Another one of our friends died of meningitis, and I think I had to ask my mother when I needed information later in life as to what diseases I'd had, and I think she said I had mumps, and I know my brother had whooping cough. But my appointment with death came when I got pneumonia, and I have very vague memories of that. One was of coming out of sleep or unconsciousness to find my mother and an aunt, her elder sister, at the foot of my bed. Travel wasn't very easy in those days. People didn't have motor cars, and this aunt, she'd never visited before, and there was no reason for her to visit as far as I knew. It wasn't a holiday, and so I guess that they were a bit worried about me. And when you are very ill and not in pain, the whole sort of aura of the place changes. And I remember another sort of period when the doctor was there, and I heard him say, we'll try this new drug, and it was called M&B, and I remember that to this day. And I remember that they were quite large yellow tablets, and I guess they were the means for me to survive this pneumonia. I think penicillin was discovered in the 1920s, but it wasn't actually used until the 1940s, so possibly this was one of the early sort of antibiotics, the things that have enabled us all to be able to survive some of these terrible diseases. So I think I did have an appointment with death, and now you've made me look back on it. If death is like this, then it wasn't unpleasant, and I don't think I'd have any fear of dying if I remember exactly those sort of moments of calm that I had. Anyway, yes, I did recover, and I think in later years I had pneumonia again, but fortunately I've not suffered any serious illnesses. But You've asked me to look back to describe the times, and of course a lot of what I've been telling you seems quite draconian, doesn't it? But we can only live in our own time, and I do look back on much of it as being much better than life today. I mean, when a handshake was a stronger bond than any document that a solicitor could draw up, when even though you'd got little, you would share it, when you had respect for authority both in the home and in society, and when there was integrity in people. So it wasn't all bad, and I think, as I've said before, I think it informed our character, and when we weren't brainwashed to believe that we could buy things and pay later, and when we didn't have media of television to worry us about all the worldly problems. So I do believe in actual fact that I wasn't a deprived child at all, and perhaps I think if we could go back to some of those values of society and community, the world would in fact be a better place. But anyway, thank you for asking me that question. I could go on forever with all the different aspects of the life, but I hope you've enjoyed just a few tales of life in bygone days. So we'll move on to something another time, and if you want to ask me any other question that you think I might have any worthwhile thing to say, please do. But until now, I mean, yes, is that right? Yes, yeah, until then, I mean, yeah. Well, there you go. You see that what happens when you get old. Anyway, goodbye for now. Goodbye.